Welcome to The Conversation with Corinthus Alston. Brought to you by CKJ Live, bringing you real-life topics and real-life stories, discussing subjects that matter to you. This is your invitation to listen, laugh, love, loathe, and link up. That's right. Tell us what's on your mind. Now let's get to the conversation.
Welcome to The Conversation. Remember, without the conversation, we can't have the understanding. Today on The Conversation, I want to talk to you about expectations and education, specifically around younger children, our preschoolers, kindergartners, first and second graders. The reason I chose this age group is because I have a 4-year-old myself, and I found out that he needs to take a test just to get into kindergarten, as well as know all kinds of information by memory, by sight, using comprehension. Heck, it's like they got to take a mini SAT just to go to school. So to help me tackle this topic, I have a special guest here on the podcast. Her name is Michelle Hicks. Michelle is an educator with over 10 years of experience, as well as an entrepreneur and creator of the learning system called the 5 Phases of Teaching Reading Before Kindergarten. Michelle has a BA in elementary education, as well as a master's of education from National Louis University here in Chicago. She has taught kindergarten, first and second grade. Michelle has also served as a dean of culture at CICS Loomis Longwood. She is currently a second grade general education teacher at Morgan Park Academy. Michelle has a lot of information, and the reason I have her on here today is because she has this learning how to read, and guess what? He needs to learn how to read. Well, without further ado, let's jump into the conversation. Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
Hello, I'm well. Thank you for having me. I definitely look forward to just sharing some information about reading and the expectations that students and parents have currently in today's society of education.
Okay, because I'm telling you, I called the school district and they gave me a laundry list. He got to know how to write his name. He got to be able to see it. He got to be able to spell it. He got to be able to do patterns and comprehension. I said, you know what? I mean, Hey, he's going to college and he's just going, he's a kindergarten. So a friend of mine told me about your learning system. So, I scooped it up and I tried it, and guess what? He loves it. But I want you to tell me and tell everyone else, why is it so important for children to learn how to read prior to kindergarten?
All right. So as you stated, there are lots of things that students have to know during their kindergarten year. So I'm just going to give a little bit of statistics, a little bit of research. So according to the International Reading Association, it says that some children come to kindergarten performing at a 3rd grade level, while other students come to kindergarten performing as if they are a typical 8-year-old. So there's a huge gap. So if your child is not getting the advantage of literacy before kindergarten, they are starting behind. Furthermore, research says that lessening that gap is very rare, and low kindergarten and 1st grade reading levels results to low 4th grade reading levels as well. So it's a perpetual cycle that can be broken at home before kindergarten.
Okay, now here's the thing. So no one tells you this when you enroll your child in preschool. No one. Right. They just said, hey, we're going to take your child. We're going to play some games with him. Mm-hmm. He might learn ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, but we're not going to teach him how to read. Now, we might show him a sight word. Okay, right. He might get exposed to a sight word, but the whole thing of learning how to put those sight words together to form sentences, or to be able to sort of kind of look at a book and says a, and the, which I was very surprised when I looked at your system, because they taught every other word to my son except and those conjunction, those things that sort of kind of glue the sentence together. So tell me about that.
So My approach is the 5 phases. So I start in a typical phase that you can introduce to an infant, or if you want to start a little bit later, that's also okay. So just the alphabet, and this is the early phases, teaching the alphabet song, then moving to letter recognition, then moving to sight words. Sight words are very important because that is a kindergarten standard. The students should read sight words on site. For example, when I would give kindergarten assessments, if in my mentor teacher, the instruction manual, it all says this. If a student begins to attempt to sound out a sight word, for example, she, and they say the sounds, you have to immediately mark that incorrect because they should know it automatically. So in my program, I definitely incorporate those sight words. However, I do not limit it to sight words. I broaden it to reading. So giving students sentences so they can develop what a sight word looks like in a sentence, so they can grasp some of the other kindergarten standards, such as reading from left to right, such as isolating one word and separated with a space. These are all kindergarten standards, and these are not Illinois standards. These are national standards for kindergarten. So it's definitely that sight word, teaching students sight words, but I also, and I really want to be clear on this about my system, it is not just sight reading or whole word reading, which is phenomenal. How it also incorporates phonics at an age appropriate level. My system is not, as right now I'm a second grade teacher, and I teach my students phonics, blends, diagraphs, all of the complexities of reading. However, for this system, for teaching reading before kindergarten, it can be basic. However, especially when you give students sentences accompanied with pictures, the wonderful thing about their mind is that they're able to quickly pick up unknown words because they're comprehending based on the picture and the words that they can't quickly read.
They're doing some type of association. So
yes.
You might have, I'm eating an apple, and you may have the apple there. You already taught them I.
Yeah.
So you're doing some type of association along as with building their vocabulary at the same time.
Right. So, and I just want to also say that it's an association, but it's also a form of comprehension. Because as I have seen many students come to me and they can read a lot of words, but they have no idea what the words are talking about in context.
There you go.
You're building their comprehension. Oh, this is a child eating an apple, and I'm looking at the pictures and I'm understanding that this is more than words in a line, but it's actually telling me something, and I'm retaining information from that, which is also very powerful.
Now, you know what? That's huge. That's huge, because I've noticed that with my son that he knew words, but he didn't understand or comprehend what those words mean. And it was only until we started saying, I started putting a happy face and a sad face. And I'm like, oh, Dad's sad. He started, oh, okay, I get it. Okay, Dad's not happy. He started to equate those things. When I say sad and happy, he knew what it was, but he didn't comprehend what they were.
Right.
Okay. Now, here's the question. I got to ask it. I do. I have to ask this, okay? So, what makes your learning system different from the other ones out there, like a ABC Mouse? I mean, there's like thousands of them, right? They charge you $9.95, and then you get on there and you like, you expect a 4-year-old to sit here and click some buttons by themselves, unmonitored.
Right.
Okay. Now, I do know because I'm using your system, but I want you to tell people what makes it different.
Okay. So as an educator, I have a blended learning environment. So that means that I use technology in my classroom. So I am for programs such as ABC Mouse, such as Epic. These are learning tools that I use. However, I do not use ABC Mouse to teach. I use ABC Mouse to practice and to reinforce skills.
Okay. Now that makes sense. That makes sense.
So with my program, it teaches parents how to teach their children how to read in a very practical way, because I have so many friends, even myself. This is how the program was birthed. Myself, I wanted my child to know how to read. I knew that it was important for her and my son to be able to read before kindergarten. However, so many parents just don't know where to get started or what to use, because there are so many systems out there, but they are pushing practice and reinforcement rather than teaching.
Hey, you just don't know. I'm shouting right now because that was me. I was teaching, he was learning how to, I was repeating. You're right. I was like, oh, practice, but teaching was something completely different. Yeah. And when I started using your system, I'm like, wow, he gets it, because it's more of a learning style than more than just a repeat.
Right.
To the point where the child actually remembers, like, okay, well, let me see that next flashcard. I already know that's going to be Ann.
Right.
You've been doing this forever. So,
right.
I mean, it is. So tell me what some of the parents are telling you, the people who've actually bought your course and who actually experienced it.
So I'm going to give two examples. I'm giving an example of, I feel, a voice that may not be heard as often. And it is the voice of a mother of an infant. She, in later infancy, but she wanted to get the program. She knew the importance of reading, or she knows the importance of reading before kindergarten. But she is following phase 1, singing the alphabet song. And she said now her daughter is still not able to verbalize the words clearly. She says, but when her daughter sees a letter, the letter B or the letter A, she will begin to hum the tune of the alphabet song, which is so powerful to me, because although it's a barrier of language, she is already comprehending that the alphabet song is associated with letters. And then she's going to move to letters are associated with sounds, and sounds are associated with words, and words are associated with sentences. So that is so powerful for me, because her daughter may not be on a video, reading a full passage, but her daughter is making gains in her own way, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's real powerful right there. I mean, because it is. I mean, my son, he was speech challenged, so we actually had to take him to a speech pathologist. And the things, it's funny because I'm using your course, and what they're having me do, it's that reinforcement. But I started to see, when I started blending them together, like, wow, his whole eyes, you can tell just when you look at him that, oh, I understand this now.
Right.
I have a comprehension
that's
of
good.
it. So, okay. All right. Where can we get it?
So
how can we get this program? Is it on YouTube? Where can we find it?
Okay. So we can definitely you can definitely go to different social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook at HicksTechniques.com. I'm sorry, at Hicks Techniques. Also on Instagram at Hicks Techniques, but we also have our own website, which is HicksTechniques.com. On there, you will see research. You can learn about me, but most importantly, you can get the product, and you just click for the download and purchase it, and then it is yours in your computer. You can access it on your phone. You can access it on a tablet. You can mirror it to your TV. You can print it out and make your own flashcards and posters for that reinforcement throughout the week with your child.
Wow, I'm telling you, you guys have to go get it. And if you have a preschooler, trust me, you need to go get it. I've had it for about 2 weeks now. 2 weeks, and it's amazing. Just that first week, that second week, now he's really starting to understand. So I need everyone to go get it. I will have it on the link. You gotta know, but since I have her here now, I'm on this whole thing about the new norm. That's my new kick. The new norm, the new norm. Okay, we've been locked up inside. Kids are in here. My 4-year-old was doing Zoom classes for preschool. Okay, I almost lost it. All right, so I have an educator here who's taught kindergarten, who's taught first grade, and who's teaching second grade. So, has things changed? Now, I know you said that you incorporated a lot of technology prior to this whole pandemic. But have you seen a noticeable change of how education is delivered prior and to now?
Well, I would definitely say yes. If I can, before we even go to the technology aspect, something that is very, very, very important to me is the relationship building. It's very important for me to build a relationship with my student, as well as for my students to build relationships among each other. So that was something that me, as an educator, I had to work for through remote learning, through Zoom, through video calls, is to still keep the aspect of a relationship. And then moving to the form of the actual material that I taught, my lessons, I use lots of visual references for my children, so they were able to still have a familiar visual. I could send it, through Gmail, through their email, so they could still have those same visual references. Oh, for reading time, this is the picture that Mrs. Hicks always displays. For math, this is the song we sing, and Mrs. Hicks is emailing us the song. So that's how I stay connected with my students, but still it was very different. Very different for them and very different for me.
Now, do you think not being in the classroom with one another, that whole social engagement, to me, I find that younger kids learn from one another, and so I hear you saying the engagement aspect and the learning aspect. But as this thing goes on, and let's say in the fall, guess what? Schools are not open. We have to do e-learning. How does that affect the way that you are going to provide education to your new second grade class?
Yeah. So it's definitely, teachers are still figuring it out. This happened so abruptly. Like, I cannot even explain how quickly this happened in my school. Like, we had one meeting, and then it was like, by the end of the week, it was remote learning is definitely in place for next week. So it was very intense, but teachers are still figuring it out. It is going to have an impact, but I do think as educators, we can be adaptable to make it, to include as much as we can, to boost students' social engagement as we can, even though it is very difficult. Some things that you can offer, something that I did with my students often is that although I would host a Zoom call with my second graders, I wouldn't give too much instruction through that Zoom call. My instruction came through a lot of the videos that were pre-recorded. So I created a space in Zoom for my students to have just some downtime, some socialization. So I would make a quiz. It was a trivia quiz about my students. So each question would be about a student. What was such and such in our school play this year? And the students would answer it, and they would just see how much they knew about each other, and they would really enjoy it, and they would beg for more trivia questions about each other. So definitely you can find ways to build that socialization. And my daughter, her preschool teacher did a phenomenal job at working to keep those relationships, even with 3-year-olds. It was amazing to see.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, I'm trying to get my head around it. I really am. I'm trying to get my head around it, because it is challenging.
Yeah.
It is challenging, for parents, especially parents, for some who are continuing to work. They're working from home, and they're trying to do this educational thing. I love the part about you saying that you created little mini videos for them. I think that is like so cool because I think
Yeah.
kids associate with that. They're like, oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
my teacher. You know, it's like they purposely want to jump on to do like these little 2-3 minute videos of you teaching them different
Yeah.
things. So if you had to sum it up, sum everything up, what would you want to leave people? What would you like to leave the listeners with regards to your learning class? Because we want people to get it. You got to get
Right.
it. All right. We want them to get it, but also something I've been hearing a lot of negative, but something positive about, hey, going into this next school year, don't instead of looking at it like a Debbie Downer,
Right.
what can we do to prepare the kids, over the summer if we have to do e-learning?
So, all right, two things. To prepare students for the summer, I would definitely say continue to teach at home, whether it's, very, very lax, but still keeping learning going because it may just transition into e-learning in the fall. So still keeping some type of learning taking place, whether it is through the 5 phases of teaching reading before kindergarten, or whether it's just reinforcing the things that they already did in the last or the previous year. Another thing I would say is, although times are difficult, it creates a different type of strength that students may not have had before. It also may develop a deeper understanding and appreciation for community that students may not have had before. So although it is difficult, children are learning from this, and it is not all negative. There are definitely positive things that children are learning. How to appreciate a friend, how to appreciate the classroom, and I want people to also focus on that. We are developing a deeper appreciation for education, for educators, for friends, and even for family members that are working really, really hard to work and to teach and to keep everything afloat. And that is what I leave, that there is a strength being developed.
Wow. I'm telling you, when I saw the chorus, I just knew I had to have you on the show. I just knew it. Because, and now I want you to know, you got to come back now.
Okay.
So okay. I just want you to know you got to come back because I definitely want to do a follow-up in the fall. Regardless if we're in the class and if we're not, because even if we're in the class, there might be some, how you do social distancing. That's a whole, I mean, you might be in there with 3 kids one day and 4 kids. I mean, they might do some rotation. But again, thank you, Michelle, for coming, joining the show, joining the conversation. And again, you will be back. We'll be back, and everyone pick up the 5 phases of teaching, reading before kindergarten. Because I'm telling you, if you have a preschooler, you have to have it. You have to have it. And remember, without the conversation, we can't have the understanding.
Thank you for being a part of the conversation with Corinthus Alston. Brought to you by CKJ Live. Come back and visit us again to hear more real-life topics and stories that matter to you. And remember, without the conversation, we can't have the understanding.